Hey there, and welcome to this video on Qentinel Pace for Salesforce. Qentinel Pace is a hyper-scalable test automation product, and we are Salesforce App Exchange partners. Now that means you can find us from App Exchange and trust us when it comes to Salesforce test automation. Now one of the coolest things about Salesforce is that it's always live. Companies can have theoretically infinitely many environments that they are working on, and all of them are live at any given time and accessible over web. Scalability and availability are the sweetest attributes of Salesforce. Now, this is beautifully designed to accelerate innovation, and if I were to define Qentinel Pace in one line, I would call it Salesforce of the test automation world. So you only need pace.qentinel.com as a URL, and behind this URL, after the authentication process, you have access to the most scalable test automation product for Salesforce that is out there. You could log in using your Microsoft account, your Salesforce account, but for this demo, I will use my demo credentials and log in. Now, as Salesforce is always available and accessible over browser, that's how Pace is always available, accessible over browser. Now my dashboard or home page, if you will, shows at the moment the statistics around my test automation product. I'll go to the projects and I'll straight away jump into the robots part of one of my projects, and we'll talk about this later on. But first of all, we'll look at a test, run a test case. Now, on the left side, I have robots. Robots are your friends who actually execute test cases, test automation in cloud. And I have Salesforce on Chrome, which I will open and straight away run to the editor, my test cases, and start a live testing session. On the left-hand side of the screen, what you see is a test case. Now, entering a lead is the name for the test case, and it's followed by test steps. Now, test steps are basically instructions for the robot on what it needs to do against Salesforce application. On the right-hand side of the screen, you see the application itself. So when I hit run on the test case, you will see what the robot is doing on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'll go ahead and click on run test. Now what basically robot is doing here is filling in the user credentials, logging in, and going through all these steps. Now on the left hand side of the screen, you see the current step as being blinked on what the robot is at that point in time executing. Currently it's filling in all this information, hitting the save, and later on verifying whether this lead was created or not. Now you might wonder, what are these test steps actually? Like, how do I get to write them, or what is it about? Or is there code behind it? Anyways, meanwhile, we have successfully run this execution, so I'll close it. Now, these test cases are written in very simple English-like keyword language, which we call pace words. There is nothing behind it. You are basically writing this click text sales, which is how how does it appear on the screen itself. So when I say click text sales, the robot will go and click on sales. You might also argue that you don't want to write these test cases. Well, you don't have to. What you could do is you can also record your steps and create test cases out of it. Now this recording is what we have with Qentinel is way different than what you have out there for different other products. What this recording does is it basically translates your actions into a script that looks like on the left-hand side of the screen. So you know, and you can read and understand what is it that the robot is going to do. Cool. I'll close the editor and come out of this view. And now let's talk about what is all that there is in Qentinel Pace besides I showing you a test case execution. Now, when I talked about robots here, they are your friends. They're your friends because you can add them as many as you want. And when I say adding a robot, you're creating these machines, these environments in clouds, which can deal with as many Salesforce environments as you wish to test. So if you have 20 teams in your company developing Salesforce, every team has its own environment, or if every developer has its own environment, they can have a robot of their own testing that specific environment. And it's so easy to create a robot. It has never been that easy. So I'll just say Salesforce on mobile and give it a description. And the run environment is cloud, because Salesforce is always accessible over cloud. Now, robot type is if I want to test a web application, which we just did, or if I want to test mobile application, as Salesforce is also available on mobile, Qentinel Pace can test those applications on mobile as well. So I'll hit on save, and there I have it, another robot. And this robot, then I can assign test cases to it, give it an environment where it should be testing those test cases, and there you go. And not only that, you can also create robots with different user roles. So if you want to test Salesforce application as an admin user, or as a developer user, or a specific user group with certain rights, you can pass those credentials as robot identities or secrets, and then they stay safe there in that robot's vault. And then you can access the application with that user profile and test with how that user should see or interact with the application. So that's really, really cool. You can either run these robots from Qentinel Pace, or you can schedule a robot run. You can run multiple robots in parallel, day in, day out, 24/7. Or you can send out execution commands from external tools like Copado or Jenkins. For every project and for every suite that you have ever executed on it, there is an entire history of results here. Every execution is also tagged with a detailed execution log report, which you can refer to later on. You can also record videos during execution. Now, videos are a great asset. When a robot is running through your application and conducting test steps on your application, and should there be a failure, you can always refer to the video of the recording. Just like here. It's always great to point a developer to actual bug or error which occurred in the robot process. Now, getting started with us is a matter of minutes. While with most test automation tools out there, it might take weeks or months. And you can have a hyper-scalable Salesforce testing with many projects, many robots, different types of robots on different types of platforms, 24/7, etc., etc. I can continue telling a lot about Qentinel Pace, but instead, I would warmly recommend you to sign up for a personal copy of your own. Here. So, what are you waiting for? Get a personal copy of yours and give it a spin. Thank you so much.